If you've ever thought humanity was fragile, well, the truth is life itself has always been hanging by a thread. Long before humans even existed, this planet nearly erased itself more than once. Yeah, you heard that right. So, let's go back. Way back, hundreds of millions of years ago, when the world looked nothing like the one we know, and where the first story of near-total annihilation begins. 1. The Great Dying, 252 million years ago. About 252 million years ago, something unimaginable happened. Scientists call it the Permian-Triassic extinction, but most people know it by another name, the Great Dying. It was the closest Earth ever came to becoming a dead planet. At the time, there were no humans. Instead, there were early reptiles, giant insects, and an endless array of ocean life. But something deep underground began to stir. A region in what's now Siberia erupted in one of the most violent volcanic events in history. For millions of years, fire poured from the Earth's crust. Lava spread across an area bigger than the continental United States. And with every eruption came billions of tons of carbon dioxide and sulfur gases that turned the sky orange and the air toxic. The temperature spiked. The oceans warmed, turned acidic, and lost their oxygen. Fishes suffocated, corals dissolved, and entire food chains vanished. By the time it ended, 96% of marine life and 70% of land animals were gone. But it wasn't one big explosion. It was a slow suffocation. The world was quietly choking on its own atmosphere. And it didn't just kill species. It reset evolution itself. The event wiped the slate clean so thoroughly that the ecosystems that emerged after were completely new. The world had almost ended, and somehow, life rebooted. 2. When the continents split, the end Triassic extinction. All right, let's fast forward about 50 million years. The Earth had recovered, just barely, but the continents were shifting again. The supercontinent Pangaea began to tear apart, splitting into pieces that would become the world we know today. And as the crust cracked open, volcanoes once again bled fire. This time, the event created what geologists called the Central Atlantic Magmatic Province, an enormous scar stretching across what would one day become Africa, Europe, and the Americas. The eruption wasn't as deadly as the Great Dying, but it came close. Around 80% of species disappeared. Whole groups of ancient reptiles were wiped out, and their extinction gave rise to something new, the age of the dinosaurs. Once again, destruction created opportunity. 3. Rocks from space. The day the dinosaurs died. Then came the most famous disaster of all. 66 million years ago, a rock from space, 10 kilometers wide, slammed into Earth near what's now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The explosion released more energy than every nuclear bomb on the planet combined. The skies filled with ash, and forests burned. A giant dust cloud blocked the sun, sending the planet into months of freezing darkness. Photosynthesis stopped. The food chain collapsed. And just like that, the dinosaurs, rulers of the Earth, for over 150 million years, were gone. But for mammals, hiding underground and in trees was the beginning of something new. Without the dinosaurs. 4. The near misses Tunguska and Toba. That wasn't the last time space took a shot at us. In 1908, something exploded high over Siberia, flattening 80 million trees across hundreds of square miles. It was called the Tunguska event, and it was caused by a space rock no bigger than a building. If it had exploded over a major city, say London or Lagos, millions would have died instantly. And then there's Toba, a supervolcano that erupted about 74,000 years ago in modern-day Indonesia. It blasted so much ash into the sky that the planet plunged into a volcanic winter. For a long time, scientists believed that this single eruption almost wiped out early humans, reducing our ancestors to just a few thousand survivors. Today, New evidence suggests it wasn't quite that bad. Humanity got lucky. Populations in Africa survived and recovered. Still, it's a sobering thought that one mountain or one eruption could have ended our story before it truly began. 5. The pattern of survival. Each time, life was nearly erased. Each time, something survived. Sometimes it was bacteria in boiling oceans. Sometimes it was small mammals hiding underground. The survivors became the foundation for the next world, a new age built from the ashes of the last. And that's the story of Earth: destruction, recovery, and rebirth. But here's where it gets interesting. For billions of years, disasters came from nature: volcanoes, asteroids, ice ages. Now, the biggest threat to life? Well, that's us. For most of Earth's history, nature was the threat. But now, the tables have turned. Human beings, clever, ambitious, and reckless, have become the architects of their own near extinctions. From nuclear war, even to climate collapse and runaway artificial intelligence, we've built tools so powerful that they've nearly erased us several times. 6. When we almost nuked ourselves, the Cold War near misses. In the middle of the 20th century, humanity unlocked a terrible power, the atomic bomb. And with it came an era where one wrong decision could wipe out the world in minutes. During the Cold War, both the United States and the Soviet Union built enough nuclear weapons to destroy the planet multiple times over. But what almost ended us wasn't war itself, it was mistakes. Take October 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis. The US discovered Soviet missiles in Cuba and blockaded the island. Tensions soared, and one misunderstanding, one itchy trigger finger, could have unleashed nuclear Armageddon. But then, something happened deep in the Atlantic Ocean. A Soviet submarine, B-59, was cornered by American ships dropping practice depth charges. The captain believed war had already started, so he ordered his men to prepare their nuclear torpedo. But the launch required the agreement of all 3 senior officers on board. 2 said yes, 1 said no. His name was Vasily Arkhipov, and his refusal stopped a nuclear war before it began. 1 man, 1 no. That's how close we came to ending everything. 2 decades later, another man did the same thing, this time in silence. In 1983, Soviet warning systems suddenly flashed an alert. 5 US nuclear missiles had been launched. According to protocol, they were to strike back immediately. But the duty officer that night, Stanislav Petrov, hesitated. He looked at the screen, at the flashing red lights, and something didn't feel right. He reasoned, if the US really attacked, it wouldn't be with just 5 missiles. So he ignored the alert. And he was right. It was a computer glitch, sunlight reflecting off clouds. But if Petrov had followed orders, the Soviets would have fired back and the US would have retaliated. The result? A world-ending nuclear exchange. 2 men, decades apart, saved the world, not by power or technology, but by doubt. 7. The weapons that almost blew themselves up. Even when no one was pressing the button, danger still lurked in the machines themselves. In 1961, a US bomber broke apart in the sky over North Carolina. It was carrying 2 nuclear bombs. One went through every step of its arming sequence. Only a single faulty switch stopped it from detonating a 24-megaton explosion that would have destroyed half the state. Think about that. One switch away from turning America's East Coast into a wasteland. Incidents like that led to new security measures, systems called permissive action links, designed to lock nuclear weapons with codes. But here's the chilling part. Many nukes didn't get those safety locks until the 1980s. For more than 2 decades, bombs sat ready to fire, sometimes from planes that crashed, sometimes from bases that malfunctioned, all one wrong move away from the end. 8. When nature fought back, and we didn't learn. While humans played with bombs, nature kept reminding us who really runs the planet. In 1815, the Tambora volcano in Indonesia erupted, the most powerful in recorded history. It shot so much ash into the air that the world's temperature dropped by several degrees. The next year, 1816, was remembered as the year without a summer. Crops failed, famine swept across Europe and North America, all from one mountain. And yet, we didn't need volcanoes anymore to do the same thing. By burning fossil fuels for just a century, we've managed to replicate the same effect, except in reverse. We've heated the planet, melted its ice, and rewritten its weather. Today, climate change isn't a far-off idea. It's a slow-motion disaster, one that could tip into chaos if key systems collapse. If the Amazon rainforest turns from a carbon sink into a carbon source, or if the Atlantic Ocean current slows, we could trigger an unstoppable chain reaction. Scientists call it a tipping point, the kind that, once crossed, can't be undone. It wouldn't look like a single explosion. It would look like everything falling apart: food systems, water supplies, coastlines, cities. A slow unraveling of everything we depend on. 9. The new threats. Intelligence without conscience. But the scariest dangers might not even be natural or nuclear. They might be artificial. Artificial intelligence, the dream of machines that think, has also become the nightmare of machines that decide. For now, AI helps us write, design, and predict. But experts warn that as AI grows smarter, faster, and more independent, it could spiral out of human control. There are two major fears. The first is malicious use, AI being weaponized, say, to create new viruses or deepfake propaganda at a massive scale. The second is loss of control, a scenario where AI systems become so powerful and interconnected that human oversight becomes impossible. Unlike the Cold War, there might be no Vasily Arkhipov to pull the plug. Decisions could happen at speeds no human could stop. That's what makes this threat so dangerous. It's not about evil robots, it's about systems that outgrow their creators. And like climate change, it's not always a single catastrophic moment. It can happen quietly, with one automation, one algorithm, one update at a time, until humanity finds itself replaced in its own chain of command. If the dinosaurs had consciousness, they would have watched the sky go dark. If ancient animals had voices, they would have screamed through the ash. But if humanity falls, it might not come with fire or noise. It might come quietly, through neglect, arrogance, or delay. So, when people say the end of the world like it's a fantasy, maybe they forget. We've been there before, more than once. If you enjoy watching this video, please leave a like, share, and also please hit the subscribe button as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.